My name is Andrew Elder. I am not originally from Belfast, although I've been in Belfast a long time. Grew up in Ballymena. I'm pastor at Village Church in South Belfast, just off the Ulmer Road. Been in full-time ministry now for 10 years. It's hard to believe. I've done everything from working on a dairy farm to working in coffee shops to working in the homelessness sector as well, which I really enjoyed. Married to Hayley. Been married for 14 years, have 2 kids, Abigail and Finley. I felt some kind of calling into church work or ministry. Wasn't really sure what it was for a long, long time, maybe even since I was 19, 20, but never even saw how that would happen. I have a background in engineering. I did a degree in engineering at Queen's and never really saw how ministry would fit in. And then was part of this church plant out of Glen Abbey 15 years ago. And at the same time, my wife and I were considering what life would look like if we were to move into full-time ministry. And there was an opportunity to become a church planter in Belfast. And to be honest, I'd never heard of church planting. We decided to take the plunge in that. Got employed by the church, went to seminary, did a master's in theology, and 10 years later, here we are. So, yeah. We really and still desire our church to look like the community. South Belfast, obviously Prison Fellowship based right here in South Belfast. It's probably the most diverse part of Northern Ireland. We believe, obviously, that the gospel is for everybody and it crosses that political divide. And so we've tried to not have too many labels or tags. The Bible is our absolute authority and guiding principle. And people who come to visit our church, they do say, they feel welcome. And we love that. We want to be big on community. I started work for the Simon Community, which is a homelessness charity, and worked at a hostel really close to here, actually, just up the road. So these were 17 to 21 year olds who had found themselves homeless for a whole plethora of reasons, just simply by sitting with someone, listening to them, and then saying, I could probably help with your problem. That can just go a long way. That was where I had my first introduction to things like youth justice and restorative justice, the Crown Prosecution Service, and probation, and all these kinds of things that were brand new to me. But you kind of just, the idea of being a support worker, which was what my role was you support people. You think of visit those who are in prison, care for those who are sick, clothe those who are naked, feed those who are hungry. These are things that Christians are called to do. And I think that because of that job, even though it wasn't a Christian job in that sense, it wasn't ministry in that formal sense, but it taught me so much about what it means to follow Jesus in those practical ways. I suppose I'd been aware of Prison Fellowship for quite a while, and then it really came onto my radar when one of the members of staff here, she was just always talking about it and so on, and it kind of just came back into my awareness. The opportunity came up to serve in the way that I'm now serving in PF on the board as a trustee, and part of me just said yes straight away, but then the other part of me, known as my wife, said, you already have a lot on your plate. But here's the thing. I prayed about it, and I opened up my Bible. The ribbon was in it, Galatians chapter 6, and my eye caught this verse, let us not grow weary of doing good. And I thought, wow, isn't that the message of Prison Fellowship in one sense? Any volunteer, any member of the staff team here at Prison Fellowship, and they do not grow weary of doing good. And I thought, well, yeah, and if there's a chance for me to do some good within the Prison Fellowship community, then great, I'd love to do that. So, yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of legal stuff that goes into it, good governance when it comes to, for example, the Charity Commission and the law and all that kind of stuff. And then really, I see my role, a part of that is like making sure that the team are well cared for and well looked after and are going in the right direction and have guidance. And I think it's when you're not in the thick of it, you can kind of take a wee step back, maybe assess the direction of things and make sure that everybody's still on board. That's really how I see it. And the various members of the Board of Trustees have different responsibilities, safeguarding finances, all that kind of stuff. But I think that's how I would see, we would probably all see it that way, as bringing just a little bit of vision and direction and guidance. When you join that board and you're legally representing an organisation, and so there is that, you do feel that weight of responsibility, and that means that you can't take it flippantly, you can't take it lightly. Less obvious challenges are you can make decisions that affect real people's lives. I suppose the opposite side of that, the blessings of it or the benefits of it, that this is real people's lives. I've been able to, make a few deliveries with the Christmas appeal the last couple of Christmases, and to come face to face with people and just have a 2-minute conversation and see the impact, very briefly. To see this dedicated staff who bend over backwards to serve people in need, maybe even people that no one else would want to serve. That's a huge blessing for me. So any responsibility or any challenges that come with this role is far outweighed by the blessing that I receive from seeing what happens and from seeing God at work through the efforts of this incredible team of staff and volunteers. Hearing the stories of real lives being changed, whether it's through Sycamore Tree or whether it's through some kind of engagement or whether it's just someone showing up to a Christmas dinner, or you're hearing about real people's lives being changed. And that's what it's all about for me. That's why I'm here. That's why I do it, I mean, obviously, as a pastor and someone who's I believe in the local church, I think for me, sometimes churches aren't really equipped or aren't really sure how to welcome people with difficult backgrounds. I firmly believe that any Christian who loves the Lord and is reading the Bible will desire to welcome and receive people and believe that they have a place in the church and believe that the Lord forgives. But maybe there's a lack of equipping, a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding. And that's where I would love to see. I think there's some work that we can do of how do we equip local churches? How do we equip local churches to, it may be safeguarding awareness, it may be putting systems in place, ways that we can equip local churches, even small churches, to say, yeah, this person, regardless of their background, even though it may be difficult, they're welcome here. Whether it's to hear the gospel for the first time, to believe in Jesus, or whether it's someone who is a Christian with a checkered past or has become a Christian in prison or whatever it may be, and they need a church home. How can we do this well? And that's where that's one thing I'm quite passionate about and want to see happen more. Yeah, to the staff, the team here, to the volunteers as well. It's that Galatians 6. Let us not grow weary of doing good. There's another passage I love in 1 Peter 5 that where Peter talks about, we will receive the unfading crown of glory. And for the staff, that's what you guys are, that's your reward. And your efforts do not go unseen. You may have days where you think, this is a thankless job, but the Lord sees and the Lord knows. And every little effort you make is worth it. It has kingdom significance, it has eternal significance. So keep going. Let us not grow weary of doing good. If you could pray for wisdom I think that's an ongoing prayer request, and I'm sure that every other member of the trustees would agree with that. It doesn't come naturally to me. And just pray for the Holy Spirit's leading and guidance. Obviously, we want the Lord to lead this. So I pray for those two things, and clear vision for the future. Yeah, our church is called Village Church South Belfast. www.villagesouthbelfast.com, or Instagram if you just Google Village South Belfast. We meet on Hay Park Avenue, just off the Ormer Road, 10:30 every Sunday morning, and everybody's welcome.